At 5:30 in the morning on July 31st, 2022, a black Toyota Camry turned onto a quiet residential road in Strongsville, Ohio.
She got sentenced 15 years to life for taking the lives of two people.
The families of God and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry.
There were three people inside. A 17-year-old girl named Mackenzie Shirilla was behind the wheel. In the passenger seat was her boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo. In the back seat was their friend, 19-year-old Davion Flanagan. The road was empty. It was still dark outside, and then Mackenzie Shirilla pressed the accelerator to the floor. The car reached 100 miles per hour. It did not slow down. It did not brake. It drove straight into the brick wall of a commercial building at the end of the road. Impact was so severe that a police officer who arrived at the scene later testified that the car looked like it had been cut in half. Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan were pronounced dead at the scene. Mackenzie Shirilla survived, and the question that would divide an entire community, consume a courtroom, and eventually reach Netflix was the same question investigators asked from the very first moment they saw that security footage. Was this a terrible accident? Or was it murder? This is the Mackenzie Shirilla case, and there is nothing simple about it. Mackenzie Shirilla was born in August 2004 in Strongsville, Ohio, a quiet, tight-knit suburb of Cleveland. By all accounts, she had a normal upbringing, middle-class family, loving parents, an older sister. She graduated from Strongsville High School in the spring of 2022. She was 17 years old, and she had been in a relationship with Dominic Russo for 4 years. 4 years. That means she started dating Dominic when she was just 13 years old, and he was 16. By 2021, they were living together, while Mackenzie was still a minor. People who knew them described the relationship as intense, passionate, and according to court documents, deeply troubled. Dominic's mother, Christine Russo, later told investigators that in the 6 months leading up to the crash, the relationship had become increasingly volatile. There were arguments, breakups, reconciliations, threats. In July 2022, just weeks before the crash, Dominic called his mother in distress. She sent a family friend named Chris Martin to go pick him up. When Martin arrived, he later testified that he could hear Mackenzie in the car with Dominic. He heard her say, "I'm going to wreck this car right now." He watched her swinging at Dominic inside the vehicle. He got Dominic out of there that day. 3 weeks later, Dominic got back in her car, July 31st, 2022. Early morning. The three of them had been at a party. Toxicology reports later confirmed that all three had marijuana in their systems. They were heading home. Investigators later established that Mackenzie had visited the exact location of the crash, the Plidco building on Progress Drive, in the days before July 31st. The car's GPS data confirmed it. At 5:30 in the morning, on a street that was quiet and empty, she turned onto that road. Security cameras captured what happened next. The car accelerated, not gradually, rapidly. It reached 100 miles per hour on a short residential stretch of road. The event data recorder, the car's black box, told investigators everything they needed to know. Mackenzie Shirilla's right foot was pressed to the accelerator at full force. At no point before impact did she touch the brakes. Not once. The car struck the brick wall of the Plidco building head-on. Police officer Michael Galassi was among the first to arrive. He later testified that when he got to the scene, the car looked like it had been cut in half. The entire front end was destroyed. The windshield was shattered. The roof was mangled. All 3 people were found unconscious, trapped in the wreckage. Dominic Russo had suffered severe head trauma in the front passenger seat. Davion Flanagan was found on top of him in the back, also with severe head trauma. Mackenzie Shirilla was found shoved under the front console, still unconscious, her foot still on the gas. Dominic and Davion were pronounced dead at the scene. Mackenzie was airlifted to a local hospital. She had 3 broken ribs, a broken femur, and a lacerated liver. She underwent multiple surgeries, and when she woke up, she said she remembered nothing. Police initially treated the crash as an accident. A terrible, tragic accident. But as investigators began pulling data from the car, interviewing witnesses, and piecing together the timeline of the relationship, the picture that emerged was something very different. The car's black box showed full acceleration, no braking. Witnesses testified about Mackenzie's threats against Dominic weeks before, and GPS data showed she had been to that building before. In March 2023, prosecutors submitted additional evidence to the medical examiner's office. The medical examiner changed the official cause of death for both Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan from accident to homicide. Mackenzie Shirilla, who had just turned 18, was charged with 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. She was tried as an adult. Her defense attorney made a strategic decision. Instead of a jury trial, he chose a bench trial where a single judge would decide guilt. The thinking was that a judge might be more analytical, less emotional. The defense presented a medical argument. They said Mackenzie suffered from a condition called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, a blood circulation disorder that can cause dizziness and fainting. Her mother testified that Mackenzie had fainted before on multiple occasions. The defense argued she may have blacked out at the wheel, that the crash was a medical emergency, not a murder. Mackenzie herself did not testify. The prosecution countered with the black box data. If she had fainted, why did her foot stay on the accelerator at full force? Why did the car speed up as it approached the building rather than coast? And why had she visited that exact location in the days before? 100% gas pedal, the prosecutor said. No attempt at using the brake. Prosecutors also told the court about the threats Mackenzie had made against Dominic in the weeks before the crash. The pattern of violence in the relationship. The fact that she had once told someone she was going to wreck the car with Dominic inside. On August 14, 2023, Judge Nancy Margaret Russo read her verdict. She found Mackenzie Shirilla guilty on all major counts. She did not mince words. This was not reckless driving, the judge said. This was murder. She described the crash as controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. She said that Mackenzie Shirilla had morphed from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. Mackenzie broke down in tears as the verdict was read. 1 week later, on August 21, 2023, she stood before the court for sentencing. Before the judge announced her sentence, Mackenzie read a statement. She said, "To the families of Dom and Davion, I am so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends, and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away." Davion Flanagan's sister, Davion, addressed the court. She asked for the longest possible sentence. Christine Russo, Dominic's mother, looked at Mackenzie and told her she should be thankful she is still alive. that she still has a future. Unlike her son, Judge Russo sentenced Mackenzie Shirilla to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 15 years. Her earliest possible parole date is October 29, 2037. She is currently 22 years old and is incarcerated at the Ohio Reformatory for Women in Marysville, Ohio. Her family has never stopped fighting. Her father, Steve Shirilla, told a reporter in 2025, "Show me one piece of evidence, one that says she did this on purpose. Show it to me." Mackenzie's legal team filed an appeal in September 2023. It was denied. They filed another appeal. It was also denied, ruled one day past the statutory deadline. In March 2026, Ohio's 8th District Court of Appeals upheld the decision to deny her appeal, and in May 2026, Netflix released a documentary about the case called The Crash, in which Mackenzie Shirilla speaks from prison for the first time. Maintaining her innocence, she says, "I just know myself, and I know I'm not a monster." That is the question this case leaves everyone with, because here is what we know for certain. Dominic Russo was 20 years old. He was Mackenzie's boyfriend of 4 years. He had called his mother in distress just weeks before. He got back in that car anyway. Davion Flanagan was 19 years old. He was in the back seat. He was just along for the ride. He had nothing to do with whatever was happening between Mackenzie and Dominic. At 5:30 in the morning, on an empty road in Strongsville, Ohio, both of them died. Whether Mackenzie Shirilla intended to kill them or whether something went tragically, medically wrong in those final seconds is something only she knows. A judge decided. She knew exactly what she was doing. Mackenzie Shirilla says she didn't, and two families, the Russos and the Flanagans, are left with a grief that no verdict, no documentary, and no appeal has done anything to ease. Dominic Russo, 20 years old Davion Flanagan, 19 years old, gone on a quiet road at 5:30 in the morning, and the question of why may never be fully answered.